This is assignment 10.3, and this is about 30, 60, 90 triangles. So first part, in the 30, 60, 90 triangle, the hypotenuse is how many times as long as the shorter leg. Remember, the shorter leg is going to be the one you really want to have first. So from here to the hypotenuse was double, so it would be twice. So how many times as long? Twice as long. And then next part, on these same triangles, how many times longer than the short leg is the long leg? So from the short leg to the long leg was the long leg times the square root of 3. So short times the square root of 3. Number 4, if you're looking for the hypotenuse, from the short leg to the hypotenuse is easy. You just multiply by 2, so it would be 5 times 2, you get 10. Over here, same thing, from the short side of the hypotenuse, you're going to multiply this by 2, so it's 22. And over here, short side is 8, that means the long side, get that 8 and double it, so it's going to be 16. Number 7, if you're going from the short leg to the long leg, you multiply by the square root of 3. This says your answer stays in radical form, so if that's 7, you just put 7 square root of 3. Over here, short side is 10, so the long leg is going to be that times the square root of 3. So there's those. And then over here, if you multiplied this by another square root of 3, now you have a pair of 3's inside the radical, which would go outside. And then 3 times 3 is 9, so that means the x is going to be 9 on that one. Number 10, it says find the length of the shorter leg of the triangle, write your answer to the nearest tenth if necessary. So this is going in reverse. When it was short leg to the hypotenuse, we multiplied. So now we're going to go in reverse, we're going to divide. So if you divide this by 2, you're going to get 4. Over here, this is the long leg, not the hypotenuse. So the relationship here was the square root of 3, but you're going backwards, so you divide by the square root of 3. If you divide 9 square root of 3 by the square root of 3, they'll cancel out, and you'll just have 9 left over. So that's your x. Number 12, this is the long leg. And so from the long leg to the short leg, you're supposed to divide by the square root of 3. The thing is that if you have to give me a radical answer, you would have to deal with the radical in the denominator. This is asking for the nearest tenth, and for the nearest tenth, all you do is let the calculator do the work for you. So 6 divided by the square root of 3 is 3.5. So x is 3.5. These are asking for your answer in radical form. So over here, if you're going from the short leg to the hypotenuse, remember that was just double. Over here, from the short leg to the long leg, you multiply by the square root of 3. And on this one, from the hypotenuse to the short leg, you just divide by 2. For side B, it says complete the statement in the 30, 60, 90 triangles. Which leg is opposite the 60-degree angle? So if I'm looking right here at this example, going opposite would be all the way across the triangle. So that's going to be the long leg. And then which leg is going to be opposite from the 30? If I'm going from the 30-degree angle, going across the triangle, that's going to be the short leg. And then number 3 says find the length of the longer leg of a triangle, write your answer in radical form. From the short leg to the long leg, you multiply by the square root of 3, so it's going to be 15 square root of 3. On number 4, from the short leg to the long leg, you multiply by square root of 3, so if you get 7 square root of 3, multiply it by another square root of 3, now you have a couple of 3's inside, so you'd multiply 1 3 on the outside with the 7, so 7 times 3 is 21. There's your x. Over here, from the short leg to the long leg, you multiply by square root of 3, so x is just 11 square root of 3. Number 6, if you're looking for the hypotenuse, from the short leg to the hypotenuse, you double it, so x is just 24. Over here, even though it doesn't ask for the short leg, you're going to want to find it. So it says find the hypotenuse, but you have the long leg, you want the short leg, divide by the square root of 3, that'll cancel out, and that means the short leg is 4. Now that we know the short leg, just double this one, and that means x has to be 8. Number 8, again, you need the short leg even though it doesn't ask for it. If that's 10 square root of 3 and I divide by the square root of 3, short leg is 10. Now that I know the short leg is 10, the hypotenuse is double the short leg, so it's 20. Number 9, it says find the length of the shorter leg. So right here I had the longer leg. If you divide by the square root of 3, That cancels out. The short leg is 8. Over here, you're going to have to divide by the square root of 3. So if I divide by the square root of 3, because we want the answer to be in decimal form, no problem. Get the calculator. 8 divided by the square root of 3, and it gives you 4.6. And then the last one on this set, that's the long leg, so you divide by the square root of 3 to get to the short leg. So 12 divided by the square root of 3, and you get 6.9. On this one, it's asking you to find both the x and the y. Remember, you want the short leg first, no matter what. So if this is the hypotenuse, and I'm looking for the short leg, the relationship is 2. So I'm going to the smaller one. I divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 makes x 3. Once I have that, from here to the long leg, you multiply by square root of 3. So 3 times the square root of 3 is 3 square root of 3. Over here, hypotenuse is 14. Cut it in half. The short leg is 7. Now that you have that, your long leg is the short leg times square root of 3, so it's 7 square root of 3. On this one, the hypotenuse is 20, so the short leg is 10. And once you know the short leg, the long leg is the short leg times square root of 3, so it's 10 square root of 3.